Hello everyone, it's me again. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves, your day, your night, wherever in the world you are. This video I want to talk briefly about my newest addiction that is actually a new practice for me as well. That is tarot and oracle cards. Now, growing up, I actually really didn't like the idea of tarot. For some reason, they just freaked me out. Now, I was okay with Ouija boards, I was okay with seances, but you couldn't get me to touch a deck of tarot cards. But recently, I do a lot of YouTube surfing because I don't have much of a pagan witchy community around here that I know of. I haven't met any in my area yet. So I do a lot of my studying and researching on YouTube and online. So very recently I did stumble upon a video by OwlMoon513, I believe her name is, and she was reviewing one of her many tarot decks, and it really resonated with me. I was watching her talk about this deck, and now mind you, I know nothing about reading tarot. Like I said, it's not that I was, forbidden, don't talk to me about tarot, but it was just something that I wasn't interested in. But watching her talk about this deck, it's like I could really see myself sinking my teeth into that and really getting into that. So after watching more videos, not just her, but like just looking up other videos on tarot and oracle, I decided to research some decks as well. And when I finally decided that this was something that I did want to try as part of my daily practice, I impulse bought a couple of decks. Now, I already use a pendulum quite often, and my runestones. I do have a couple of runestone sets as well. And I find that although I love my rune sets, I can't seem to get past the literal meaning of the stones. And part of that I attribute to myself. I blame myself, but I also think that it has to do in part with the demands of everyday life, my job, just goings on in every day. I feel that the way is such that everything has to be A plus B equals C. If you tell me something, tell me exactly what the meaning is, and that's it. There's no room for intuitive thinking. Especially, I don't know about your workplace, but in my workplace, there's no room for intuitive thinking. There's no room for deeper meanings. It's, I need this, tell me what it is, and that's it. And I feel that having to constantly think like that on a daily basis, it's really depleting my ability to think intuitively. I'm not utilizing that skill as much anymore. And growing up, that's something that, if I can credit myself with anything, I loved thinking outside of the box. I loved looking for deeper meanings of things. So it was really depressing for me when I realized that that skill has kind of been put on the back burner. That skill has kind of, I'm not using it as much anymore. So that's another reason why I really decided, okay, maybe oracle and tarot card reading is something that can really just not, it can help me get back to being to having those skills again, to being able to really think outside of the box. So I did impulse buy 2 oracle decks. The first one is based on my lovely runes, the Power of the Runes deck. Put it over here so you can see better, by Phoenix, I believe his name is. Now this is a US Games Systems card deck, so that was kind of a win-win for me. It's runes and it's a Connecticut-based company, and I'm a Connecticut girl, so yay, it's like yay win. So I ended up getting this, and it's a 25 card deck, which makes sense considering that there are 24 runes in the Elder Furthark. Now a lot of people will say that there is a 25th rune, but based on what I've seen in my experience, there are only 24. But there are 25 cards. They do have that 25th rune in there. And these cards are absolutely beautiful, if you can see the back here. I don't know if you can see with the crappy lighting, but it's like, it kind of looks like a galaxy without the stars. And the artwork itself is also very beautiful, very detailed, very involved, very bright, colorful. Now, this deck, while I really do love it, I've only done a couple of readings on it so far, but I do find the meanings and the messages I get, again, to be very literal. Because with each rune, obviously each rune has its own particular meaning and message that it wants to send to you. But I find that the art is also very limited and to that. It's very it's attributed to that meaning. You know, like the Fehu rune here means wealth. You know, and wealth then was usually attributed to how much cattle you owned. So what's on the card? Cattle. And that's only part of the rune system. I'm not, you know, trying to go into the whole in-depth meaning of the rune here. But so I do find these cards to be very, I don't want to say limiting, but in a way they are kind of limiting to the messages that you can receive, which was disappointing to me only because when I got this deck, this was the first deck I got, I was really hoping it would I don't want to say serve the purpose, but it would really help with the goal I was trying to achieve, and that is to open up my intuitive mind again. While I do really enjoy this deck, I do. I think I'm going to actually just designate this deck as the deck that I use if I want to communicate with my deities or if I'm looking for a very specific message. This isn't the deck that I'm going to go to for intuitive readings or anything like that. The other deck I got, actually, once I saw this deck, I knew I had to have it, so I feel like it kind of chose me in a way, was when I was researching decks, and the image on the cover just... I couldn't stop staring at it. So that's when I knew I had to get it. It's another U.S. Game Systems deck, published deck, but it is the Eyes of the Soul Oracle. There we go, because I can't speak today. And it's by Cheryl Yembrock Rose. I apologize if I completely butchered her name. But you could see this cover here, and this cover just captivated me like right away. I could not stop staring at it. It's a 52 card deck, and now mind you, I don't mean for any of this to be like a review. I'm just kind of talking about my experience with them so far. This deck is 52 cards. They are large cards. You can see here in comparison to my hand. I'm trying to hold you. You can't see my hand now. Kind of. You can see my fingers. And they're gold lined, which I think is just fun. The artwork. Now, before I start talking about the artwork, when I first started looking at this deck, I saw it and I decided I need this one. I did some research on it, and I read some reviews. I watched some reviews on YouTube, and everyone said the minute you open this deck and start working with the cards, it's like you're opening a door for messages just to come through. And, you know, of course, because I like to second guess myself and doubt my abilities, I took that with a grain of salt. I'm like, okay, well, people seem to have good luck with it, so let me definitely get my hands on this deck and try it. And I did a few daily draws with it already, and these reviewers were so right. I am so overwhelmed with the messages I get from this deck. Look at the artwork on this. That's the back of the card. And now the messages are very inspirational, very basic. Like this one is, guard and protect the sacred waters of life. Look at the imagery. This is a beautiful card. And they just, I can't even wrap my mind around the experiences I've been having with this deck so far. The artwork just blows me away. I mean, every card I love. And here's one of my favorites. I did a reading on this one the other day. This is Share Your Wisdom with Others, Shine Your Light. And I immediately had to start journaling. I mean, this card, it was like it just started talking to me. It was great, and it really kind of solidified my decision to really start experimenting and exploring Oracle and Tarot, because it was immediately doing exactly what I had hoped it would do for me, and I'm just blown away. I'm at a loss for words if you can't tell. So I'm definitely gonna keep using this. This deck I know for a fact is gonna be one that I keep with me. I mean, this is really the only actual Oracle deck I have. This one is an Oracle deck in name, but it's visual rune stones for me. And this one I have, like I said, I have a very specific purpose for. So I do love this deck, but for intuitive readings, this one has changed my life. And I highly recommend it to anyone in the same boat as me, or just looking for a visually stunning deck for themselves. Here's another beautiful card. Sacred Journey, Pilgrimage. Of course, I say it's an addiction because I do already have a wish list going of other Oracle decks that I wish to get my hands on based on videos I've seen, or just images I happened to find online that I fell in love with. So if any of you guys have any recommendations for decks, please let me know. I'm constantly scouring the internet for some, but tarot, I think, is going to be something that I build myself towards. I don't have any tarot decks yet. I would like some, but I think that's a little over my head right now. I'm just kind of trying to get back into really kind of rebuilding my thought process, and I want to rebuild myself, for lack of a better word, term. So I'm starting slow, but if anybody has any recommendations, please feel free to leave them. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Love and blessings.